Hello, everybody. This is Sheri Kaye Hoff with the Living Joyfully Show. I'm excited to be here with you today, and make sure that you stop by the website sherikayhoff.com. That's SherikayHoff.com for some fun free gifts. And I'm so thrilled to introduce you to my really spectacular guest here today. She is absolutely one phenomenal woman. Meghann Conter uses her power to connect, elevate, entertain, and celebrate extraordinary women as the CEO of the Dames, a global community designed specifically for women running and leading 6- and 7-figure businesses. Meghann believes that anything can be accomplished through fearless collaboration, laughter, fun, and love. Once a burnt-out over-network CEO, she is now the global ultra-connector for women who thrive in the space where self-worth and net worth align. Learn more about the Dames and Meghann at www.thedames.co. Welcome, Meghann. I'm so excited you're here. How are you today?
I'm so great. Thank you, Sheri, for this opportunity, and thanks to everyone who listens.
Yeah, well, I just know that it's been such a big blessing in my life meeting you, and I can't wait to share you with everybody. So
thank you. I'm excited.
Tell us about the Dames and, how you started it, what it does, and the magic behind it.
Yes. Well, it was a warm May day in the afternoon, just a little bit later than what we're dealing with right now. And the sun was shining, and we were in this cute little space in northern downtown Denver called Wine and Way. And there were 23 of us in this room where my idea came to fruition, where women who are running 6- and 7-figure businesses and in director, VP, and higher positions in large companies could come together and laugh their heads off to be able to connect more authentically and develop relationships and rapport with each other as potential power partners, and then be able to be inspired by women running 7-figure businesses. And that was back in the day, this is 2015, that was Denver Dames. And that was really where this idea was born. At the beginning, it was really a product, if you will, underneath my marketing business. I've been in my own business since 2009 off on my own, and have really had a wealth of experience as a business owner, and was creating this new environment that could be in alignment with me and my top 2 values of fun and love. And I just kept finding that so much in business was very serious. And seriousness doesn't often breed a lot of creativity, and it also doesn't breed a lot of fun. And I am number one about fun. And if it's not fun, I'm not going to be doing it for very long. And that is why Denver Dames in the beginning and the Dames now has always been a reverse mullet, which is the fun in the front and the seriousness in the back. And that really all came about because in that period of time, as I was growing my 6-figure business to 7 figures, I kept getting business cards stabbed to death by all kinds of people trying to sell me their MLM products or their brand new business stuff or their insurance policies or their whatever, but very few women who are actually running successful, solid businesses were surrounding me. And I knew that I needed that in order to go to the next level. And when I couldn't find them around me, I looked around and asked others if they knew of a place, and they didn't know of a place. So, of course, like any good entrepreneur does, I decided to create it myself. And as we grew and outgrew venues here, we started out with just in-person events, and we kept outgrowing venues. In 2017, I was sitting in deep meditation, and I had this vision of the Dames being international and being in these huge auditoriums with just laughter and play and inspiration and education for 6- and 7-figure women in business. And it was just like, aha, this is the time for expansion. So that was really when we kicked off, and 2018 was our first year as an official business. And it's kind of morphed and changed since then into this international network of high-performing, high-caliber women in business who love to laugh, learn, and grow together as we support one another in shifting paradigms more so than anything else, and in collaborating before anything else, and also in growing our businesses as we do all of that while not losing our lives or our sanity.
Yeah, wow. And that sounds like such a big thing. And I'm sure people listening are thinking, well, that can't be possible. And from, like networking experiences that people have had, I'm sure they can relate to the feeling like they've been business cards stabbed to death, or repeatedly stabbed by business cards. Yep. And I, like for myself, I actually at the beginning of the year put on my bucket list that I wanted to find a networking group of powerful women that were also about fun and excitement. And, I just wrote out everything that I thought I would want that group to be. And then I just set it aside and just trusted the universe to deliver it to me. Mm-hmm. And then I met Hallie, and who's a dame, and I didn't know it at that time. I interviewed her for the podcast, and she said, we were talking before her interview, and she said, there's this group you just have to get connected with. And from your first like intake gathering that you do to give people the dames experience, I was just hooked, and it opened up so much for me. And I think what it did is it opened up, my heart where, I thought, there are really women out there who are highly successful, but really want to see other people be successful as well. Because in our Facebook group, there is like zero competitiveness or one-upsmanship with each other. It's like total support. And I know that leadership comes from the top down. I mean, yes, you have brought together an incredible group of women, but you set the tone for that. So, and I'm thrilled to be part of helping make this, even more global and international, because I have a global community too. So
thank you.
Share some, people who are listening are in different stages of business, and we have like those real, those highs, and then we have those kind of crushing lows. Can you share a story where you weren't sure that maybe it's not the dames, but something else that you did, you weren't sure it was going to work out, and how you made it through, either through, any of your magic tools that you have?
Yeah, I mean, I think that a few things come to mind. Is when I first got connected with my intuition, it was around 2012. I was on the beginning of my spiritual journey, 2011, 2012. And I remember sitting in a room at a retreat learning about self-love and realizing, wow, that's a foreign concept. I've always been loved from the outside, but what does it look like to be loved from the inside? Which then led me to getting connected to my intuition, which then led me to realize that my value isn't in what I do, but who I be, which led me to realize that, no wonder I've been creating this business based on external everything, and how am I pleasing others, and how am I doing, for others, without thinking first of myself. So that was probably the biggest lesson that I got early on, was if you create this business for anyone else other than yourself, and you don't consider yourself first, you will burn out. And at any point along the line, if you forget yourself or forsake yourself, you will, so that whole line in my bio about once a burnt out, overworked, over-networked CEO, it's like I thought that I couldn't get paid for what I was naturally good at, right? So I was always this brilliant connector, and I would just joyfully make these connections for people after every time I met them. And so networking for me was not only a way of meeting people, but it was a job, because I would take seriously that, hey, I just met this person and they're looking for this. I need to connect them. And that, as you know, Sheri, takes time to make quality connections for people. And so while at that same time I was fantastic in marketing strategy, and that was what my business was for so many years, the intuition, tapping into that allowed me to evolve my business. And that's sort of the second point that I would make is once you get tapped into your intuition, which I'll talk more about, listen to it. Of course, don't forego what it says or ignore what it says. But after you get tapped into that intuition, now I just lost my train of thought. What did I say point 2 was? Oh, that's so funny.
Intuition.
So,
after you get tapped into intuition.
Yes.
Hey, I hear you. It's the time of day.
Yeah, and it's the energy.
The snow.
There's so much juicy, yummy energy going on.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. So intuition, evolving. That's what it was. Let yourself evolve. So, I remember seeing some business owners when I was first a business owner, and I threw myself to the wolves. I joined a leads group right away. I had no idea what I was doing in business or what anyone else did in business. I didn't know how business worked, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to figure this out as I go. And I noticed people who seemed really unhappy doing the same thing that they'd been doing for 30 years and feeling like, man, I can't help these people market themselves because they hate what they're doing. And, I could just feel it, like this exhaustion in them. So I learned very quickly that we have to allow ourselves to evolve in business. And for me, that looked like rebranding 5 times and changing my business model many times and my focus many times throughout the course of my marketing business. And each time I allowed myself to do that up leveling and that shedding of my old skin and the rebirth of the new skin, it was like, I'm becoming more and more of myself. So allowing that to happen and evolve. And what I can tell you about, some of the biggest downs were when I was trying to be someone else, when I was trying to follow someone else's model or someone else's structure or grow a business in a very masculine way. Like it has to be done this way. This is the way all the business books are written. By the way, majority of them are written by men, which is fine. But women have a different way of growing business. And so I remember trying to follow this formula and grow my marketing business and trying to hire other coaches underneath me to do what I did and just continually falling and feeling this desperate sense of, God, am I ever going to get there? Even though I was doing pretty well and, I just was working 24/7 and feeling like it was going to be the longest road to success ever. And right around that time when I was feeling the most, like I was carrying the most burden was when the Denver Dames had been born and I was doing it and I was having them events every other month and I was feeling this incredible amount of joy and just satisfaction that was coming from doing these events. And so I knew based on my intuition to continue to follow that thread. And I knew I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's going to be, but I know that I need to keep doing this. And so every time I would have another download, I would continue on with whatever it was and implement whatever that was into the Dames. And my marketing business just kept feeling heavier. And so eventually it led me to this point where I'm running 2 successful 6-figure businesses, the Dames and my marketing business. And I'm exhausted because I'm basically running 2 different companies doing 2 different things. And I finally got to that point where I was able to recognize that I could have a business that was a model that worked for me, that wasn't me trading time for money, that was so scalable, it's not even funny. And that I do deserve to run a company like that. And I do deserve to be one of the 2% of women that get to that 7-figure mark. And I'm, well on my way now. And I do get to be that person who turns around continuously all the time and looks around me and says, all right, who else is coming with me? Let's do this. And let's have some freaking fun, because the way that I grew that marketing business was a lot of stones in a backpack trying to carry up a really steep 14er. And that's no fun. I'd rather get on this surfboard / hoverboard / whatever fun mechanism you can think of and just fly down the road and have fun with my friends while I'm doing it. And that's really what the Dames has been all the way along, following the intuition and just allowing these up levelings coming through downloads after downloads and fun brainstormings with my team and growing my chapter presidents, which, Hallie Evelyn is a great example of. She's going to be our newest chapter president, opening up a Miami chapter in June. And all the way along, it's just following those little God winks, the universe kisses, and having so much fun doing it, as opposed to letting this other business that was weighing me down be the thing that I had to be successful with. And as of 2019, December 31st, that business is no longer, and I have been fully focused on the dames since 2020, and it has just catapulted me in ways that I never imagined possible. And I just see the future, and it's even more exciting than it was before.
And I know for a lot of people that are still maybe locked down, it's been probably a lifeline for a lot of people to connect with high-powered business women during a time when, it's been isolating for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's been, and no one predicted that piece of it.
No.
I don't know how we could have, but so when I know that like I said, there are people listening who are in different stages of business, and there is a stage, and I don't know if you remember it, of I'm the people who are not quite at the six-figure mark, and they're like, the dames sound great, but I'm not quite there yet. What can I do to get there? And can you maybe speak to how you hit your first six figures?
Yeah, with a lot of hustle and grind and pain and toil and grossness.
So we're not telling people to do that.
I don't recommend doing that at all. So, I mean, that's the beauty of the dames, is I got to take all the things that didn't work for me in my first business and say, okay, what is it that really will work for me and for other women business owners? Well, embracing the femininity and embracing our intuition is number one, because so if you're relying on other people to strategize for you, stop doing that. Start listening to your own intuition and really tapping in. If you have a hard time with that, find someone who can help you tap into your intuition more and really start listening to yourself. And then once you get that clarity of your vision, that's when you start working with others to help you shore up the areas where you're not as strong. Like, I've worked with so many coaches to help me with everything from my financial acumen to my understanding of accounting to my understanding of leadership to how to grow and lead an amazing team there's everything from that point on. We have a lot to learn as business owners, but if we're not in alignment first with where we're headed, if it's not truly us that's created it, then we're going to go down the wrong path or down a path that's just not very comfortable. And if you feel that sense as a female entrepreneur of the grind, the hustle, the difficulty, I invite you to stop and ask yourself if this is where you're supposed to be, or if there's maybe a jump off onto another track that is more appropriate. And I think that difficulty that we have in business is not really understanding or knowing what other business models are that are available to us. And so we just do the easiest ones around, coaching and consulting, or not necessarily the easiest, but the most popular. And there are, hundreds of different business models. So really getting tapped into the right business model for you. And if you're not meant to be an entrepreneur, sometimes that's the case. Maybe you're going to be better off supporting someone else's mission, and that's okay too. But really understanding where it is that you are aligned to be, because you have clarity of vision, that's what's most important. And when you ask, where can people go, look around and you can throw a stone and find 750,000 different networking organizations to join as a newer business owner. There are so many of them. In Colorado, if you're a B2B service provider, one that I recommend is my Firestorm. They're a business-to-business incubator networking organization, and they are fantabulous. They believe in the same structure that we do of connecting with power partners instead of hunting for end clients when you network. And there are a lot of other, really great women-only networking groups that take those who are under six figures. And really, it's about surrounding yourself with a supportive community, right? Whatever that looks like at the time for you. And I always had that, but it came so clearly to me that the reason why I was continuously struggling was I was usually the smartest person in the room. People were always coming up to me to pick my brain, and I was always be the one who was serving and connecting and doing things for others. And it was exhausting. And I thought, well, maybe this is just what it's like. No, it's not. When you are part of an organization that's dedicated to you at your level where you are in business, it's like working with the right business coach, right? If you're running $1 million business and you're working with a coach that hasn't surpassed 100,000 themselves, that's probably a misalignment. If you're running a $50,000 business and you haven't gotten over the six-figure mark, go with somebody who has, but who's not also way far ahead and running $1 million business. There's a lot of strategies for that we don't really have time to get into, but I would just say finding the right community, and that's the ecosystem that we've built in the Dames, is specifically based on the needs, wants, desires of women running 6 and 7 figure businesses and women in director VP roles. In that middle ground, wanting to and excelling toward the top of the tree. And that's the challenges that we're facing at this level are very different than the challenges of newer business owners. So that's why we have this threshold that business owners need to be at in order to be part of the Dames, because it's not honoring of those who haven't gotten to this point yet to be part of these, to be in this network. It's not honoring of them. And then once they're at that level, they'll come in and be like, aha, okay, I understand what's going on. Everybody around me has similar challenges. They have similar celebrations. Great. I feel supported. I feel like I have what I need here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I want for anyone who's in that group of, I really want to be over 6 figures, that can happen in less than a year. That can happen easily in a year. It's just a mindset shift. Like if you've been, a lot of people, they maybe started their business from that breath, taking that breath of, I just want some extra money, or I want to replace a part-time job. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, this could be more. So it's more of the energetic shift that you make inside yourself that takes you from like 50 to over 100, or 30 to over 100. Yeah. So I
just want to say that I had those energetic shifts when I was a coach, but when you're not in the right space, it is so much more work. It's so much harder. So it also is possible. Yes, it's possible to get over 6 figures. Then what? Because that's not like the Taj Mahal. That's not the end goal.
Right. Exactly. So, and a lot of people make it that. It's kind of, it's kind of like saying, oh, when I lose 20 pounds, my life will be perfect. Well, guess what?
Right.
You will be 20 pounds
you
lighter.
Keep it off. And you got to keep it off.
Yeah.
And then
there will be some other things in your life.
Right.
So, and when we look at even like coaching and consulting, because, a lot of people listening are coaches and consultants, that sometimes there's a lot of pressure to coach and consult in a certain way. And I just want people to embrace your own strength, because because someone says this is the way coaches make money doesn't mean you have to coach in that way. Like you don't have to have a 5-step system, a 6-step system. You could have some kind of transformative approach that is mind-blowing, and that's you, and that's perfectly fine and fantastic and so much better than trying to be what you think you have to be to just make money. So
Yep.
Well,
or be what you want, be what other people want you to be.
Exactly. Well, I just love your energy, and I love just your whole approach to life. You're just, if you were here with me, I would just hug you.
Me too.
but
soon enough.
So yes, soon enough. So how can people who are listening get in touch with you? What's the best way for them to reach out?
Yes. So if you are a potential dame, the best way to check us out is to go to thedames.co/roundtable. And so if you qualify at that level, we'd love to have you there. And I would say follow us at The Dames Co. on just about every social media platform. So at The Dames Co. And if you are looking for, a network that, if you're not quite at that six-figure level, feel free to send me a message through our website or a message on any of those platforms. And I'm happy to recommend some that are, that I know of that are in your area that I think are great catalysts for women as they grow toward the six-figure mark. I'm happy to make some suggestions there. And, just if it is your goal to grow to a seven-figure mark or wherever it is, definitely listen to the tips from this interview and listen to what Sheri has to say in all of her other podcasts, because she knows what she's talking about. So that's what I have to say about that.
Thank you so much, Meghann. So also, we've talked about so many things, and, sometimes people can get information overload. So what is your 1 to 2 things that you want people to take home with them so that they can act on it right away?
Definitely surround yourself by those who are at and above your level. So if you're an intermediate skier, find other intermediates and advanced skiers to be around. And if you aren't quite sure if you're tapped into your intuition or what that could be, I think Sheri has some great episodes on her podcast from what I've heard about that, but definitely take the time to get tapped into your intuition and follow its guidance. Always follow the intuition that is within all of us. You have your own. Find it, follow it, and trust it. It is the one GPS that will never need to be recalibrated.
Powerful thoughts. So I just want to say thank you to all of our listeners. Thank you so much, Meghann. Take care, everyone. I can't wait until we talk again. Have a fantastic day, evening, or morning, wherever you are in the world, and we'll talk soon. Take care. Bye-bye.